You're listening to The Freedom Effect, the Freedom to Become podcast, where we sit down with some crazy people who have done some crazy things in terms of business, in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of doing things just a little bit differently than most people are used to, because we all have that fear of failing at something. It's time to break away from that toxic mindset of thinking that there's only one way to live this life and accept the fact that you have the freedom to become. We want to welcome everybody to The Freedom Effect, the entrepreneurial podcast where we sit down with crazy people who have done crazy things in their life. Crazy things in terms of business, in terms of really anything. But today we're doing something a little bit different because not only do we have two people on the show, we also have one that's in a different location that is meeting us remotely. So HAILEY, Andrew, and TORRA Wolf, how are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing swell. So HAILEY just told me that you just moved to Utah from California.
I did, yes.
So is that where you're originally from? Is California? Or
yeah, born and raised in California, was always there, grew up there, and then went to school in Idaho, went back to California for a short time, and now we just moved to Utah.
Nice. Is that for work or school or what's
my husband just got a job out here, so.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I know HAILEY pretty well. This is obviously the first time that I'm meeting you, but one of the first things that we wanted to talk about, you guys are fitness people. I mean, like, I don't even know what to call you. You are personal trainers, right? Both of you are?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm just a physical therapist assistant. TORRA is the personal trainer.
Okay. Are you licensed, TORRA? Do you have certifications?
Yes.
And stuff?
Through 8.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's kind of go back to the very beginning of where you got started. Because, there's always like that moment in your life when you're like, okay, I think this is the path that I want to take, but you have to make that decision. So how long ago was that and what kind of led up to that?
It was kind of a few events, actually. So when I graduated high school, I did sports all the way through high school. I was an average student. So when I went to college, I went to community college before I left on a year-and-a-half mission. And so while I was there, I hated all my classes, but the one class I really loved was a workout class. And I didn't know that it was a thing, but you can get a degree in exercise physiology. And so I was like, oh, I'm totally doing that. So I left on my mission. When I got home, I switched my major to exercise, and I just fell in love with it so quick. And I had a summer job working as a kickboxing trainer at a gym that I didn't need a certification for up front because they trained you there.
That's crazy.
And I loved it. I loved every second of it. And that's when I decided this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So
yeah, it all just started with kickboxing and stuff. That's crazy. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys probably met at college, or did you know beforehand?
We met here at college. TORRA was actually my supervisor for a couple semesters over the student activities, athletic events, and the fitness events that they hold on campus.
Okay. I know that you personally, you did swimming, something in the water.
Water aerobics.
Water aerobics.
Yeah.
Okay.
The evening classes.
Yeah. But you've also expressed feelings about you don't like swimming. Or
I'm just not a good swimmer.
You're not good at it.
Not for long distance. I enjoy it as a workout because it's a very hard workout for me.
So as far as you go in health and fitness, where was your start? What happened there?
I mean, all through high school, I participated in at least 3 sports, and none of them were amazing, but track was my thing. And with track, you have to do quite a wide variety of training in order to excel. And so I had 2-a-days and I went to track camp. So a lot of speed and agility, weightlifting type things. And I just love that. That's kind of the bread and butter for me. And after graduating from high school, I had the opportunity to potentially go run track at college. But TORRA went and served a year-and-a-half mission in a foreign country and gained weight, came back and really wanted to be back in shape.
That's what happens on your mission.
It's terrible. You gain all that weight. You have an amazing experience, but you come back and you're like, I need to look good and feel good for physical activity, and you get back into a good workout routine. And that was just kind of the revamping of that. And being a physical therapist assistant, that's what I knew I wanted to be all through high school. So that as well, you have to be in good shape for to lift people.
Exactly. You can't go and tell somebody that they need to live their life in a certain way if you're not doing the same thing.
Totally.
And I've seen that many times in certain, doctor's offices and different things like that. But that's really cool. And so when did you guys decide? I'm going to ask you this, TORRA. This is a question for you. When did you decide you wanted to maybe start something together and make a business out of what you love?
Okay, so this was pre-COVID. This is when we first met, and we were just hanging out together. We decided to work out together, and I had this dice that was like it had 12 different sides, and it had different workouts on each one. And she saw it in my bag, and she was like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just a workout dice. I use it for some classes. It's really fun." She was like, "We need to make these," and it was her like entrepreneur idea that kind of just bloomed into this whole idea of becoming a whole training program online with clients, and then also having the workout accessories. So we started making these core dice together. And then in the middle of it, with COVID happening, I lost all my clients because I couldn't go into the gym and train them. And so we decided, well, why don't we just do it online? So then that's kind of how it all came to be. And she used, her social media to be able to get more clients, and also word of mouth. And we started with my mom, actually. She was our first client. And then just from there, we kept like going with more people, and it was fantastic.
Okay. So it was a combined effort between both of you. You needed to throw in your ideas. And so give us a breakdown of really everything that's included. Do you come up with your own fitness programs, or these things that you've taken from other people? Because the problem is there's a lot of different ideas as far as health and fitness goes. And everybody thinks they have the right answers, and they think that their way is the only way. So what are the truths, and what's just kind of like the rumors, or just these ideas that are absolutely not true? Do you guys know any of those? Hailey, that's for you.
I think that what we have created is something that's personalized to the person, what they have available as far as resources go, meaning both money, gym, space to work out in at home, and their needs, because maybe it's someone who's just had a baby recently, or who's trying to have kids and just needs a gentle workout routine, or someone who needs an aggressive workout routine, aggressive nutrition plan, and a lot of check-ins to stay motivated. So I don't think there's any perfect cookie cutter program for any one person. There may be programs that are good for a month that give you an easy way to do exercises. But what we try to do is we try to make it as personalized as possible for that person and their needs. And if it's someone who has a really good background in fitness already, we make it as general as possible for them so that they can either pick specific things for their program, or we offer things like that 30-day program where they can just do something easy for a month that they don't have to plan, they don't have to think about, and it's super cheap and readily available.
Right.
So we have options. I think that's the biggest thing, is making options for people.
And one thing I wanted to point out, because there are going to be people listening to the show today who, they might want to look in a little more about what you do, see what a 12-sided dice looks like.
Yeah.
And so we'll give them an opportunity to go and check out your social media pages. And the business is called Mind, Body, Burn, correct? Okay. Where did that name come from? TORRA, go for it.
Okay, so this was us. We were trying to figure out a name, which I feel like is sometimes the hardest decision to make. And so I remember vividly, she came over to my apartment, and we literally sat down, and we were going through all these different names. We were writing them down. I remember there was one that was called like Beast Mode or something like that, like so many different names. And then she has her page that's called Mind, Balance, Body. And I was like, I really love that, but I don't want to take over your page. So then we kind of switched around the words, and we're like, what about Mind, Body, Burn? And even then, even when we started it, it was like had a little doubts, because we're like, well, maybe it's too long. Maybe it's too random. Like, does it go along with what we want? And we really talked about it, and we love the fact that it focuses on your mind and your body. And you have to have those both together in order to get that burn and see the results that you need to be able to get, those health results if you want to tone up, slim down, whatever it is. So that's kind of where it came from. We'll just kind of mess around with different words.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I 100% agree. Starting a business, like, the name is crucial, because that's ultimately what's going to stick with you for a long time. So that would bring us to the next question. Is this something that you guys think you're going to continue on forever? Like, hopefully you're friends forever, but are you going to stay in partnership? Because businesses grow. Sometimes you just decide to go your own way. Do you have a plan, or are you just kind of taking it a day at a time? Go for it. What do you think?
I think we've talked about it quite a bit. We project that we can grow within the next few years to a point where we may even need to hire on another personal trainer to help take the caseload of clients and help create new programs for people. We'd like to expand to get to the point where we can even offer slightly more generalized group training programs where people can get a less expensive form of accountability, where they're working out with a group, and they check in with each other and kind of create a support system to encourage them to continue with their fitness. And so we have a lot of ideas on how to continue growing and ways that we can make it work with our schedules. But I think ideally our plan is to continue growing, continue expanding, and work on this business so that we can each do that from home, where a lot of things with COVID happening right now keep you at home.
Right.
Even though I still work as an essential healthcare worker, TORRA can still do personal training at a gym wherever she goes. But there are things or situations that may cause us to need to be at home. And this is a really, really great career to continue our love for health and fitness and help other people along the way.
Right. So that would lead me to another question here. So you actually do have clients that you're working with right now.
Mm-hmm.
And are they in your area? Are they completely remote? And how do you follow up and keep them accountable?
So they're all over the place. We have some that are local there in Rexburg, and then we have some, like we have a girl that's from New York. We're dealing with people in California, all over the place kind of, and they're all at different levels. Some of them have a lot of similar goals, but we've known now that every person is different, and there's no, one size fits all in a situation. And so that's why we love this whole personal customized training plan, because online we can create those. And I can go on there and see, okay, this person really wants to tone up, their shoulders, but they don't, if it's a girl, they normally don't want to get big. So you kind of want to give them that more of a burn. And so, we create these workouts that we find are literally perfect for that exact person. And so I feel like that's something unique that you really can't find anywhere else.
Yeah. And that's really cool. So do a lot of these people that you take on as clients, do they have a background of exercise, or are some of them starting fresh and they just, they're ready to make that change, and you guys are the first people they've ever worked with?
Most
Is that
of them,
the case?
yeah, most of them haven't. I mean, we're finding there's a few people that do. I mean, we worked with one girl that was training for a marathon. So she was very familiar with a lot of different things. So we were able to do more advanced workouts for her. But the majority of the people that we worked with are at different levels. We have one lady who is, all the way back at square one because she's preparing to go in for a knee surgery, and she needs a knee replacement. So her movements were completely, stationary basically, and just moving slight like leg extensions or sitting down or maybe walking slightly. But even then she couldn't go on walks for more than 5 minutes without being in pain. So we really had to, step back and really find those minimal workouts that really gave her the strength for the specific muscles that would prepare her for that. So they're kind of all over the spectrum. So
yeah. Do you ever bribe them with donuts and stuff? It's like, okay, you haven't moved in 3 days, like, because that's really crazy. If somebody's has joint issues or something like that, that's where the physical therapy side comes in.
Definitely.
Which is cool, because if she's the personal trainer, that's a lot of like the lifting and the aerobics and stuff, where yours is more just like recovery. Right. I mean, you do training as well, but like you're specialized in that,
right?
So that's really cool. You posted something on Instagram recently, and I don't remember who said this, but they were basically saying it's like you do what works for you. So it's like, if you don't like skipping breakfast, then don't do intermittent fasting. If you like carbs, don't do keto, and stuff like that. Who was it that said that?
Rob Allen. He's like one of the main weight loss coaches that's on Instagram, on YouTube. He's out there, and he has all of this information, all of this research from training clients. And it's like, you have to do what works for you. If you find a plan and it's like, okay, you have to limit your carbs, you have to limit your proteins, even you have to limit your fats. You're like, what's left? What is left for me to eat except for vegetables?
Water.
And so water. And if it's miserable, how sustainable is that? And that's kind of what we talk about a lot with our clients. It's like, we want to create a plan that not only you enjoy, but is sustainable, that will help you see the results, because it's possible. Yeah. It's more than possible. And that's our whole goal, is to create something that people enjoy, but that they'll keep up on. Because there's no point in creating a goal that you're going to do for 2 weeks and never touch again.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you do for a month and you see small results, you do it for 2 months and see even better results, then you could do it for a year and look like a whole new person and feel like a whole new person and enjoy it throughout the journey. Then it's worth it. It's well worth it. So a lot of our stuff, it takes a while. We tell our clients, don't expect crazy results until you hit the 6 week mark. And it's not going to be crazy, but it's going to be worth it. You're going to feel better and look better. if you keep to it. And that's the other thing.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating for a lot of people who, maybe have not exercised for a very long time. And as soon as they make that decision, they're like, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to work really hard. They want to see things happening really quickly. Mm-hmm. And you have to just tell them to be patient, because you know how people, they always say that Rome was not built in a day. Well, neither was your body. And stuff like that takes a lot of time. But it's the ones that are very consistent with, with the exercise, with the diet, it makes all the difference. And so obviously, I've got a little pouch of fat right here. And so I'm working my way towards that, but I'm learning a lot in the process of trying to figure myself out. And really what it comes down to is because everybody's body is different, they have a certain amount of calories that they should be eating, and just eat less than that, right? Is that what you tell people? Like, just if you stay in a calorie deficit, then you'll lose weight.
And it can be what you eat. It could be how much you move during the day. You could create a deficit depending on what you're willing to sacrifice or do more of. And so that's one thing. If we have clients that are like, I'm not willing to change too much how I eat, and maybe they eat in a balanced way and it's moderated, but they're not really willing to sacrifice what they eat. Like me, I'm not willing to sacrifice what I eat, but I am willing to sacrifice some time to go work out and burn some of those calories and create a deficit in a different way. We always give them those options because one of those is worth it. At least one of them is worth it. If they're really motivated and dedicated to a plan, we'll say we'll create a deficit in both ways. And so then they can see results possibly faster, but it's all about their mindset. And that's kind of what we try to prep them with our initial phone call. We do a Zoom call like this. We get an idea of what their goals are. We have a set list of questions, and then we know, okay, this is how we're going to customize it for.
Is it the same questions that you ask to every person just to get a feel, and then you go and design their program based off of that? Do you ever, TORRA, like for example, when you start working with these people, do you ever have to kind of change the mindset that they have? Like they go in with these certain ideas of what they think it's going to be like, and you're like, no, it's not. It's actually not going to be like that at all.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like that's why the Zoom calls right before are huge, to be able to, we ask the same questions, but every answer is different. And so with those questions, we ask further questions, and we ask, to really get to know that person. Because that's another thing too, is we feel like having that actual relationship with our client makes a bigger difference too, because then they're able to communicate with us and let us know. Because the same thing what HAILEY was saying is, if you hate, or if you love carbs, don't cut out carbs. And it's the same thing. If you hate doing a burpee, don't ever do a burpee in your lifetime. Like there's so many other different ways you can move. And so for us, being able to, talk with them and find out what they love and what they hate, we're able to create these workouts that they'll love and be able to recognize that, being healthy is a lifestyle, and it's not just something quick to be able to shut off the pounds or shut off the weight, but it's something that, you create from your day-to-day habits that don't have to be miserable, that they can be fun things. Like for me, I hate doing the same workout every single day. I will never, always do weights or always do cardio. I like switching it up. And half the time I'm so sick of writing workouts for other people that I don't want to I don't want to write the workout for myself. So I'll actually go and watch the video and be motivated that way. So it's just different. And so being able to have those Zoom calls, you really get to know the person, and you really are able to find out what their needs are.
So here's something that I have thought about recently, and a friend of mine had posted a poll or something on her social media, and she said, what are 3 things about your body that you're super grateful for? And I was thinking about this, and I was like, well, I'm an asthmatic, but I can push past that, and I'm grateful that my body can do that. But another thing was that I realized that my genetics don't have to determine my physique. And that's a really common belief that people have, and they think that they're like, oh, just all my family, they're overweight, so I'm naturally going to be like that too. Right. That's a mindset that you have to break. But what do you tell people like that are just so convinced that they can't change? That's a tough question. I know. Yeah. So.
No, I just had this conversation with my sister. We were talking about how to grow your booty. That sounds so silly. But it's a big thing for girls right now, is you'd like to fit in your jeans the way you want them to fit and look good. And it's helpful. Having a strong bum is very helpful for most workouts. Everybody's it's functional. It's great.
But it's all about the shape too, because I've seen some dudes that have some really big butts, and I'm sure they hate that.
It might make jeans shopping hard.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So she was telling me, she's like, how do I get a better booty? She's like, I've heard it's all genetic. she's like, all of these trainers online are saying like 30% of it, if not more, is due to genes, how much you can grow that booty muscle mass. And I was like, they're probably not wrong. I'm not going to lie. That's probably researched and true. And I would believe it, because sometimes muscle growth is hard for other people and easier for others based off of your type, your build, and genetics. And so I was like, but you can push past that. There's certain workouts that will increase your muscle mass in the glute area by just doing the right amount of weight and not too much cardio, and then really increasing that protein. Mm-hmm. So there's certain specific steps. And when people come to us with things like that, that's definitely something we would tell them. We would go just buy the book with the amount of reps, the amount of sets, and the type of nutrition you need to support that with. Because that's one way you can overcome that genetic barrier that we all know about.
Yeah. So you mentioned something I was actually going to ask you. Cardio makes you lose weight, true or false, Torra? Like the more cardio you do makes you lose more weight. Is that true?
Like
it's a misconception
on its own, or to something?
A lot. Well, I mean, people, they think like if you are just running every single day, you're going to lose your body fat. Yeah. But I've heard different things as far as that goes, because it's like what you're really doing is you're burning calories. Next time you eat, it's just going to come right back. So what are the misconceptions with cardio? Go ahead, Torra.
So, yes, you do cardio, you're going to lose weight. You lift weights, you're going to lose weight. You just walk for an hour and I don't know, just anything, any way of moving, you can lose weight. And I actually had a class in college where we had this whole test. So there's a bunch of misconceptions with CrossFit as one of them. Like there's a bunch of people, you either love CrossFit or you hate it. And so many people are like, well, you're going to get injured, or, it's not actually good of a workout. You're going to get huge doing it. And so my teacher had us do a CrossFit workout. And what we did is we tested our heart rates. We had those little bands, the little MyZone bands that tested our heart rate and checked to see how many calories we burned. So what he had us do is we did, one day was our CrossFit workout, and the next day we ran for 30 minutes. And so both of them, so the CrossFit workout was 15 minutes and we ran for 30 minutes, and we compared the two. And between those two, our heart rate shot up more in the CrossFit workout than it did for the run. But however, the run, your heart rate was high, but it was kind of consistent unless you started doing sprints. So what he had us do is we kept at a consistent speed. So what we found at the end of that is no matter what you do, you're burning calories. And you can do high intensity workouts for a shorter amount of time and be able to burn more calories lifting weights. And so the heavier the weights are, the harder it is on your body. Therefore, you're going to be, burning more calories to be able to lift those weights. So it really depends on what you're doing, but everything in the end will help you lose weight depending on how you put it into place. So if you're only lifting weights for 5 minutes, you're really not going to see many results. But if you start lifting weights and adding, cardio with that, or trying to do more movements or more full body, that's when you're really going to see the results. And toning is basically you're shedding off the fat, but you're also growing your muscle. And the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn too. So, all of it is true.
It's crazy. It really is a science. And the more that you can learn about your own body, the better off you're going to be in the long run. And that's why I think it's so great that not only do, fitness programs, specifically yours, help them to just start exercising, but you're also educating them to take these concepts on with them for the rest of their life. I think it's very cool. Just to finish up, I think it would be wise to talk about the person behind your social media, because your Instagram page is killer. It is so good. So what's her name, and where did that all start? Like, is she specially trained, or is she just kind of do it on her own, or what's the...
It's kind of been an off and on thing. It started out with just TORRA and I creating some content, and then it got into where we were like, we need to have some photo shoots of the products, the 12-sided core dice to help with just some availability for people to know and see what it was. And then it was like, okay, we're going to start filming these 30-day programs, and we want to offer them to our clients. And then it was like, okay, we need more content. We need videos. We need photos. And Sierra is her name, Sierra Ward. She's a personal trainer as well. She works at a gym in Idaho Falls. And we just connected with her. She was my TA for my water aerobics class when I used to teach that at BYU Idaho. And she's awesome. She's great. She helped us with all of that. She's also a photographer on the side. So I was like, hey, we'd love to have you help us create some content. And yeah, right now we just like hire her for content creation and have her come on and create the videos and make the posts. And then I just kind of take up the social media end and post them on there.
Yeah,
and
so she'll create the content, she sends it to you, and then you post it?
like the photos. She's taken most of our
Okay.
photos, and we just have a Google Drive we communicate between, and she sends it over to us. She's awesome. And so that way we have pictures and things to share with people and
Right.
information to
So
help.
big shout out to Sierra for killing it on
Yeah.
social media.
Seriously,
That's
though.
awesome. And so,
Amazing.
sorry, what's that?
Oh, I was just saying that she's amazing.
Yes, she is. That's awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming on the show tonight. I know it's different doing it in different places like this, but it worked out really well. And so I just want to thank you both. Is there anything you would like to say to someone who is thinking about getting in shape, but they don't really know where to start? Do you have any ideas what thing they're needing to hear right now?
I think one thing I would say is it's never too late to start, and you don't have to start at a full sprint. It's not something that needs to be done all in one night. Like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day. You don't have to have a body transformation all of a sudden. It needs to be something that's progressive. We love having people who say, I just want to start out little by little, and people that are really dedicated to the long-term commitment to being in shape and having that fitness relationship for wellness rather than just jumping the gun and wanting that full body transformation in a month. So start out. Just start. Maybe walk a little more today than you did yesterday.
Yeah.
Maybe try to drink a little more water than you did last week. And as time goes along, you're going to see some results in how you feel. And eventually you'll see results in how you look.
Well, because doing something, even if it's small, is better than doing nothing.
Right.
And so that's a good word of advice. Thanks so much. Tori, you got anything before we head out?
Yeah. I mean, my husband always says, by the yard it's hard, but by an inch it's a cinch. So just the little things and being able to find what you love, honestly, is how, like what Hailey and I both love, being able to talk to people to find what they love. And if they need any help, we're always here. The best combination, honestly, we got the personal trainer and then a physical therapist. So all sorts of levels, anything that we can help with. And it's not expensive compared to most, trainers and stuff like that. So
yeah. No, I totally agree. It's a great thing you're doing. So for anybody listening to the show tonight, Mind Body Burn is the Instagram page. You can check them out, and hopefully you're going to start a YouTube channel soon. Huh? I'm just kidding. We were talking about that before the show started. But anyways, so go check them out. They're going to do good things for you if you are in that boat of wanting to get into shape. So thanks again, guys, for coming on. And we will talk to you soon.